Hey, what's up, my friends? There are two things I wish I would have known about this blender system before I bought it. I'm going to tell you about those two things. But first, I just want to go over all of the accessories, show you some of the features so you can get a good idea if this is the right blending system for you. First, this is the box that it comes in. I just wanted to show you the size and everything that comes with it. So that's the box. We're going to put that to the side. We'll put some of these other things to the side, and we're going to start with the base of the blending system because that's where all of the magic really happens, and that's what makes the difference between most of these blending systems. So I'm going to pull the pitcher off here, the extra large pitcher, and talk just about the base for just a second. So as you can tell, it is a pretty sizable base. Compared to some of the other Ninja blenders, this thing's pretty big. Rightfully so. It's a 1500 watt, 2 horsepower motor, dual motor. I don't even know what that means, but you know, probably means it's pretty good. The cord's about 2.5 feet long. That's pretty standard for any blender. So you do have to be somewhat close to a power outlet if you're going to use this, if you don't want to use it with an extension cord. It does have a little bit of weight to it, but not as much as you would think for a unit this size. I'm going to come a little bit closer and show you these details in here. So these are the different settings and features and buttons that come on the base. You have a power button, so you do need to turn the unit on after you plug it in. Then you have, of course, a pulse. This is where you can manually hold this button and make it go whenever you want it to go. The first setting is called the dough setting. It does come with a food processor that also can act like a mixer. We'll talk about that in just a second. The second mode is a blend mode. So that's when you're using the large pitcher on top of the unit and you're putting a lot of things, a lot of substance into that pitcher. You're going to want to use the blend mode. And then crush, this is an ice mode. The third mode is crush. So when you have a lot of ice, if you're making frozen drinks or you want to make snow cone ice, that's the mode that you want to use. And then you have single serve mode. That's when you're using the small smoothie cups you typically use for a smoothie. You could use it for dressings or dips, that kind of stuff. But when you are using the small cup, you want to use this single serve blend, or this single serve mode. Sorry about that. Now, another cool thing to know about this unit is there are 4 suction cup feet right here. Now, if you've used any of these units with suction cup feet, you know it can be difficult to get them back off the cabinet or countertop. Once they've suctioned to it, they do their job very, very well. This unit comes with a really cool feature, which is this right here. And this is a little handle that you pull up on, and it pushes down on the suction feet to easily lift it up off the cabinet or the countertop. So that's really cool. Next, let's talk about all of the accessories that come in the box with this whole Mega system. So of course you have the traditional XL blending pitcher. This has a 64 ounce max liquid, 72 ounce max solid. The blender pitcher itself has a really nice big handle that's really easy to grab onto, especially when your hands are wet or dirty in the kitchen. There's plenty of ways to grab this handle. I really appreciate a large handle like this. I'll show you the bottom of the pitcher. It's really easy to clean. It just has one simple wheel piece right here. The lid is this really cool designed lid that Ninja has in most of their blending systems. To release the lid, you press this big button right here on the top, you fold up the handle, and it comes off. Now, one thing to know about this lid is that it does have one direction that it can go onto the pitcher. So you see that arrow there on the lid, right there in the corner. Those two arrows have to line up in order to be able to lock down the lid. So just know, sometimes when I'm cooking with it, making with it, I get a little confused and put it on a different way, and it won't lock down unless I've got it lined up exactly. Another thing to notice in the lid is this little pinhole right here. That goes with the blender blade. Okay, because this blender blade goes the full length of the pitcher, which adds more strength to it and more ability to have blades up higher, you have this cool 6-blade blender blade right here, and it goes down onto the star fitting, and then it fits into that pinhole right there to add strength to whatever it is that you're that you're blending. Of course, you can remove this blade, which is really nice. Some blenders you can't remove the blade from the pitcher. This is really convenient for cleaning. So then you just have this that you're dealing with when you're cleaning. You can get your hands down in there with a scrubby or whatever and not worry about cutting yourself. Next on the lid is the pour spout, and I think this is a really cool feature. The pour spout is nice because you all know the pain of making a smoothie or a slushie or a dressing or something in this, going to pour it, and you have that avalanche coming, and it's going to be bigger than the cup or the bowl that you're pouring into. This nozzle makes for a really nice funnel to keep that pouring clean. Now, one thing is it's an added piece or part to clean, but I haven't noticed any trouble cleaning around the nozzle or any of that kind of stuff. All right, so next we have the food processor, and it's a pretty good size food processor. It's a 8-cup max, 64-ounce max food processor. I'll show you this a little bit closer. You have all of your measurements right here on the side, both in cups and ounces, and then over here you have milliliters and liters, just depending on what unit you want to use your measuring. Same sort of lid design here. You have a large release button right on the top of the lid. You pop that handle up, it releases the handle, and then you can open up the food processor. Here's a look at the bottom, very similar to the blending pitcher. And same thing on the top side of the lid. It also has a place for this blade to go into to add strength and stability as you're blending things up and processing things. This is a cool 6-blade processing blade right here. This is what you would use for salsas and dressings and nut butters and all of that kind of stuff, and similar look on the inside. So very simple to clean, very little moving parts to deal with when you're cleaning inside the food processor, which is meaningful. The other cool thing that you get with the food processor is the dough hook. This can also work as a smaller mixer. Now, I use a KitchenAid and a Bosch both, and this can't necessarily replace that because of the capacity, but you can just drop this baby in and mix a smaller batch of dough in the processor as well, which is kind of cool. Next, you have the single serve or individual smoothie cups. These are 16-ounce smoothie cups. They have a max fill line right here, and you can make a nice little smoothie, nice size smoothie right here. It also comes with these to-go cups that have sip holes in them. They don't seal shut. Some of the other Ninja ones do seal shut, so just know these ones are open and cannot be sealed. It also comes with, of course, the blade bottom. So it's 2 of these single serve smoothie cups with sip lids, and then this is your blending lid right here. This is the blade that has, you gotta be careful, it's sharp, and it just screws right onto the actual single serve cup, so you only have one container that you're dirtying. This is really easy to rinse off and clean. You have accessibility to all of it, and this is the bottom side of it. Again, if anything were to get in here, really simple and easy to clean with one little spinning part right there. Now finally, let's just talk about noise. I've tested a lot of blenders and compared a lot of blenders. This one is on the louder side, but it has a larger motor, so that's to be expected. And when you're running a blender, I mean, it just kind of comes with the territory. You know you're going to be running something that makes a high level of noise, and hopefully you're not running it for a long time. So we've absolutely loved having this blending system in our kitchen. Of course, obviously, it's very versatile. There's a lot of different things that you can do with it, and I hope you like it as much as we do.